Imagine this. You're standing in a crowded room, the air thick with laughter and clinking glasses, conversations weaving like threads in a tapestry of apparent connection. But as you scan the faces around you, smiles stretch too wide, eyes that dart away just a fraction too soon. A chill creeps up your spine. Who among them is truly here, and who is merely performing? It's a question that gnaws at the edges of your consciousness, especially when you've poured your trust into someone only to watch it shatter like fragile glass under the weight of betrayal. What if the fakest person in your life isn't the stranger across the table, but the reflection staring back at you in the mirror? This unsettling paradox forces us to confront a deeper truth. Detecting fake people begins not with scrutinizing others, but with unmasking the illusions we harbor within ourselves. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who delved into the labyrinth of the human psyche, warned us about this very deception. He observed that we all wear personas, social masks crafted to navigate the world. But when these masks harden into falsehoods, they alienate us from our authentic selves. In his words, the persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society, fittingly enough a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. This quote underscores a profound irony. The fake people we decry in our lives often mirror our own unacknowledged deceptions. Jung's insight compels us to pause and reflect. How often do we project our inner fakeness onto others as a defense against self-examination? To detect fake people, we must first understand the psychology of inauthenticity. Fake individuals aren't born. They're sculpted by a society that rewards conformity over truth. They operate from a place of fear of rejection, vulnerability, or insignificance, leading them to construct elaborate facades. These facades manifest in subtle ways. The friend who agrees with everything you say, not out of genuine alignment, but to avoid conflict. The colleague whose compliments ring hollow, laced with an undercurrent of envy. The partner whose affection feels scripted, like lines from a poorly rehearsed play. But here's the gripping twist. These behaviors aren't isolated anomalies. They stem from what Jung termed the shadow, the repressed aspects of our personality that we deny, only to see them embodied in those around us. Picture a scenario from your own life. You've confided in someone about a deep insecurity, only to have them nod empathetically while their eyes glaze over with disinterest. Later, you discover they've shared your vulnerability as gossip fodder. That sting? It's not just betrayal. It's a psychological alarm bell, signaling a disconnect between their projected self and their true intentions. Jung believed such encounters are opportunities for growth, urging us to integrate our shadows rather than project them. Yet, in a world saturated with social media filters and curated personas, detecting these fakes has become an art form laced with peril. Miss the signs, and you invite emotional vampires into your inner circle, draining your energy and distorting your reality. Emotionally, this realization can be devastating. It stirs a cocktail of anger, doubt, and isolation. Why didn't I see it sooner? Intellectually, it demands rigor, analyzing patterns, questioning motives, and trusting intuition over surface charm. The method Jung implicitly warns about isn't a checklist of red flags. It's a journey inward, peeling back layers of self-deception to sharpen our perception of others. Start by examining your own masks. Do you laugh at jokes that aren't funny to fit in? Do you withhold your true opinions to maintain peace? These small acts of inauthenticity tune your radar to spot them in others, creating a ripple effect of awareness. As we delve deeper, remember that fake people thrive in ambiguity, exploiting our desire for belonging. But armed with Jung's wisdom, we can begin to pierce that veil. The path ahead involves recognizing the archetypes at play, the trickster who manipulates, the hero who feigns valor, all echoes of universal human struggles. Yet, detection alone isn't enough. It must evolve into discernment, transforming pain into power. In the sections to come, we'll explore the subtle cues that betray inauthenticity, building on this foundation of self-awareness to safeguard your relationships and reclaim your authenticity. You've begun to peel back the layers of your own masks, confronting the uncomfortable truth that inauthenticity often starts within. Now, Picture yourself walking through a dense fog, where shadows flicker just out of reach, each one a person in your life whose true intentions remain obscured. The question isn't just who is fake, but how they weave their deception so seamlessly into the fabric of your reality. Detecting fake people requires more than gut instinct. It demands a sharpened lens to spot the subtle cues that betray their inauthenticity. These cues are like whispers in a storm, easy to miss if you aren't listening closely, but deafening once you tune in. This journey, grounded in Jung's call to face the shadow, now shifts toward decoding the behaviors that signal a disconnect between words and truth. Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher who wrestled with the nature of existence, once said, "There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true." This insight cuts to the heart of our challenge. Fake people exploit our willingness to believe their facades while we resist the painful truths our intuition screams. Their deception thrives in the gray spaces of human interaction, where charm masks manipulation and flattery conceals envy. Consider the colleague who showers you with praise during a team meeting, only to undermine your ideas in private. Or the friend who always seems to forget their wallet when the bill arrives, yet never fails to boast about their generosity. These aren't mere quirks. They're calculated performances designed to maintain an illusion of sincerity. Psychologically, fake people operate from a deficit of self-awareness or an excess of self-preservation. Jung's concept of the shadow suggests they repress their true motives: greed, insecurity, or a need for control, projecting instead a persona that aligns with social expectations. This makes their behavior maddeningly inconsistent. They might mirror your emotions to gain trust, a tactic psychologists call emotional mimicry. For instance, they nod enthusiastically as you share your dreams, but their questions feel rehearsed, lacking genuine curiosity. Or they offer help in a crisis only to vanish when you need them most. These contradictions are red flags, but spotting them requires emotional attunement and intellectual clarity, skills honed by reflecting on your own moments of inauthenticity. Emotionally, these encounters can leave you reeling, second-guessing your judgment. Did you misread their intentions, or were they deliberately misleading? Intellectually, they challenge you to analyze patterns over time. A fake person's actions rarely align with their words in the long run. They might promise loyalty but gossip behind your back, or feign vulnerability while withholding true intimacy. To detect them, pay attention to micro-behaviors: a forced smile that doesn't reach their eyes, a compliment that feels like a transaction, or a story that shifts slightly with each retelling. These are the cracks in their mask, revealing the shadow beneath. The art of detection lies in balancing skepticism with empathy. Not every inconsistency signals malice. Sometimes people hide their true selves out of fear, not deceit. But chronic patterns of manipulation, deflection, or emotional unavailability are warning signs. Imagine a partner who always shifts blame during arguments, painting themselves as the victim while you're left questioning your own reality. This gaslighting, a hallmark of inauthenticity, erodes trust and distorts your sense of self. Jung would argue that confronting these behaviors is an act of reclaiming your own authenticity, refusing to let their shadow eclipse your light. As we move forward, this heightened awareness sets the stage for a deeper dive into the archetypes of fakeness, specific personas that fake people adopt to navigate relationships. By recognizing these patterns, you'll not only spot the imposters but also understand why they resonate with your own vulnerabilities. The fog is beginning to clear, but the path ahead requires courage to confront not just their deception, but the parts of you that let it take root. With Kierkegaard's warning in mind, we'll explore how to trust your instincts while avoiding the trap of cynicism, building a framework to protect your emotional world. The fog of deception begins to lift as you attune to those subtle cues. But now imagine stepping into a grand theater where every actor dons a role tailored to ensnare your trust. These aren't mere performers. They're archetypes, timeless patterns of behavior rooted in the human psyche, that fake people embody to manipulate relationships. Drawing from the self-awareness we've cultivated and the behavioral red flags we've decoded, we confront these illusions head-on. Each archetype is a distortion of genuine connection, a shadow play that preys on your vulnerabilities. By naming them, we strip away their power, transforming passive observation into active defense. This intellectual mapping, paired with emotional vigilance, equips you to navigate the stage without becoming part of the act. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher who pierced the veils of morality and truth, cautioned against such deceptions with his declaration: "The most perfidious way of harming a cause consists of defending it deliberately with faulty arguments." In the realm of personal interactions, this translates to fake people who champion your values or dreams with arguments that crumble under scrutiny, revealing their true aim: control or exploitation. Nietzsche's insight reminds us that archetypes aren't random. They're strategic, exploiting our desire for affirmation while advancing hidden agendas. Consider the chameleon, the archetype that shifts colors to blend seamlessly into your world. This fake person mirrors your opinions, hobbies, and even mannerisms, creating an illusion of soulmate-like synergy. Psychologically, they're driven by a fear of isolation, using adaptability as a weapon to infiltrate your circle. But watch closely. Their adaptability falters in consistency. Today, they echo your passion for environmentalism. Tomorrow, they dismiss it when it suits a different audience. Emotionally, bonding with a chameleon leaves you hollow, as the connection evaporates when their mask slips, often during conflict, when true colors emerge in defensiveness or abandonment. Then there's the martyr who cloaks manipulation in self-sacrifice. They give endlessly advice, time, favors, but with strings attached, tallying debts in silence. Jung's shadow archetype lurks here, as their apparent altruism represses resentment, erupting in guilt-tripping or passive aggression. Intellectually, discern them by questioning reciprocity. Do their sacrifices demand disproportionate gratitude or loyalty? Emotionally, they drain you, fostering dependency while eroding your autonomy. Recall a friend who helps in your hour of need, only to weaponize it later. After all I've done for you, this archetype thrives on your empathy, turning kindness into a cage. The opportunist archetype strikes like a shadow in the night, appearing supportive only when it benefits them. They're the networker at parties, the colleague who allies during promotions but ghosts post-success. Philosophically, they embody Nietzsche's critique of herd mentality, feigning individuality while parasitically feeding off others' achievements. Spot them through patterns of convenience. Their enthusiasm wanes with your fortunes. Emotionally, encounters with opportunists breed cynicism, as repeated betrayals scar your trust. Yet, intellectually, they teach resilience. Analyzing motives sharpens your foresight, preventing future entanglements. Don't overlook the enigma, shrouded in mystery to evade scrutiny. They dole out personal details sparingly, deflecting questions with charm or humor, keeping you chasing the illusion of depth. This archetype masks insecurity or ulterior motives, using vagueness to control the narrative. Psychologically gripping, they hook your curiosity, but the payoff is perpetual superficiality. Emotionally, this leaves you unfulfilled, questioning your worthiness for their true self. Intellectually, probe with directness. Their discomfort reveals the facade. These archetypes aren't exhaustive but illuminate the spectrum of fakeness, each a distortion of authentic archetypes Jung described: the hero, the sage, twisted into tools of deceit. By recognizing them, you reclaim agency, turning emotional wounds into wisdom. But detection demands action. Boundaries, confrontations, or exits. As we progress, this understanding evolves into practical strategies, tools to test authenticity and foster genuine bonds. Nietzsche's warning echoes: don't let faulty defenses undermine your cause. Armed with archetype awareness, you're poised to build unbreachable emotional fortresses, ensuring the illusions crumble before they consume you. With the archetypes unmasked, their illusions scattered like fragments of a shattered mirror, you stand at the threshold of empowerment, ready to forge tools that not only detect but dismantle the facades threatening your inner world. Envision yourself as a sentinel in a vast, echoing hall, where echoes of past betrayals whisper warnings, and the air hums with the potential for genuine connection. The knowledge of shadows and subtle deceptions has sharpened your gaze, But now it's time to wield practical strategies, transforming introspection into action. These methods, inspired by Jung's imperative to integrate the psyche, form a shield of discernment, impervious to manipulation, yet open to authenticity. Here, emotional resilience meets intellectual precision, turning vulnerability into unyielding strength. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher known for his piercing pessimism and insights into human will, offered a stark reminder: almost all our sorrows spring out of our relations with other people. This truth amplifies the urgency of our quest. Fake people aren't mere annoyances. They're architects of sorrow, eroding our well-being through insidious bonds. Schopenhauer's words urge us to prioritize discernment, not as paranoia, but as a philosophical act of self-preservation. In practice, this begins with the test of consistency. Observe if their actions align with their declarations over time. A fake person might vow unwavering support, yet their availability fluctuates with your utility to them. Log these discrepancies mentally or in a journal. Patterns emerge like constellations in a night sky, revealing the inauthenticity beneath. Psychologically, this test taps into cognitive dissonance, the discomfort when beliefs clash with reality. Fake individuals induce this in you to maintain control, but flipping the script, documenting inconsistencies, forces clarity. Emotionally, it can stir frustration or grief as illusions crumble, but intellectually, it empowers you to question narratives. Extend this to the mirror challenge. Reflect their behavior back at them subtly. If they complain about being overlooked, ask how they've supported you lately. Genuine souls respond with introspection. Fakes deflect, accuse, or withdraw. This method draws from Jung's shadow work, exposing their repressed traits while affirming your own authenticity. Another forge in your arsenal is the boundary probe. Set small, deliberate limits, share a minor vulnerability, and gauge their reaction. Do they honor confidentiality, or does it become fodder for their agenda? Fake people often breach boundaries under the guise of caring, revealing a lack of empathy. Philosophically deep, this echoes Schopenhauer's view of human relations as fraught with egoism. By probing, you discern self-interest from mutual respect. Emotionally gripping, a breached boundary feels like a visceral wound, but it builds resilience, teaching you to retract trust swiftly. Intellectually, analyze their excuses, vague apologies, or blame-shifting signal deeper deceit. Incorporate the intuition audit. Train your gut by revisiting past encounters where intuition flagged unease, yet you ignored it. Why? Often, societal conditioning prioritizes politeness over protection. Reclaim this by meditating on bodily cues. Tightness in the chest, a fleeting doubt. Jung saw intuition as the voice of the unconscious, a bridge to the collective wisdom. Pair it with rational verification. Cross-check stories with mutual acquaintances or subtle inquiries. This hybrid approach, emotional and intellectual, creates a robust filter, catching fakes before they embed. Yet, discernment isn't isolation. It's curation. Use these tools to nurture real connections, where vulnerability is reciprocated and growth mutual. Imagine pruning a garden. Removing weeds allows true blooms to flourish. The sorrow Schopenhauer described diminishes as you surround yourself with authenticity, fostering joy and depth. But challenges remain. Fake people adapt, sensing your vigilance. Counter this with ongoing self-reflection, ensuring your shield doesn't harden into cynicism. As we approach the culmination, these strategies coalesce into a holistic method, one that not only detects but heals. The hall's echoes fade, replaced by the clarity of empowered choices. In the final act, we'll synthesize this wisdom into a transformative practice, ensuring you emerge not just vigilant, but profoundly whole, ready to embrace relationships that honor your true self. The shield of discernment now gleams in your grasp, forged from the fires of self-reflection and sharpened by strategic probes, as the hall's shadows retreat into oblivion. Yet, envision this not as an end, but as a crucible where detection transmutes into alchemy, turning the lead of betrayal into the gold of profound, unbreakable bonds. You've journeyed through the mirrors of your own deceptions, decoded the whispers of falsehood, unmasked the archetypes, and armed yourself with tools of vigilance. Now, in this final synthesis, we weave these threads into a transformative practice. A method that doesn't merely expose fake people, but heals the wounds they inflict, fostering a life rich with genuine connections. This is Jung's ultimate warning realized, not isolation from the world, but a rebirth through authenticity, where every encounter becomes a catalyst for growth. Martin Heidegger, the German philosopher who probed the essence of being, encapsulated this transformative potential when he stated, "The possible ranks higher than the actual." In the context of human relationships, this urges us to elevate beyond the actual deceptions we've endured, toward the possible realm of authentic existence. Fake people represent the stagnant actual, mired in shadows and illusions, but by applying our method holistically, we unlock possibilities. Deeper trust, emotional fulfillment, and intellectual harmony. This alchemy begins with integration. Daily rituals that blend self-awareness with external scrutiny. Start each morning with a shadow check. Journal a moment from the previous day where you sensed inauthenticity in yourself or others. Analyze it through the archetypes. Was it a chameleon's shift or a martyr's guise? This practice, rooted in Jung's psychology, prevents projection, ensuring your perceptions remain clear and unbiased. Psychologically, this integration rewires your neural pathways, shifting from reactive fear to proactive empowerment. Emotionally, it mends fractures. Each dissected betrayal becomes a lesson, not a scar, reducing the grip of past sorrows. Intellectually, it demands synthesis. Combine the test of consistency with intuition audits, creating personalized authenticity profiles for key relationships. Rate them on scales of alignment, reciprocity, and vulnerability. Low scores prompt boundary probes or graceful exits. Imagine applying this to a longtime acquaintance whose opportunist tendencies surface during your successes. A candid conversation, framed by Heidegger's call to possibility, might reveal their fears, opening doors to mutual growth or confirming the need for distance. Extend this alchemy outward through the practice of reciprocal vulnerability. Share a guarded truth with someone, observing their response, not just words but the emotional resonance. Genuine individuals reciprocate, deepening the bond. Fakes falter, exposing cracks. This isn't naive exposure but a calculated forge, tempered by prior discernment. Philosophically, it echoes Heidegger's being with others, where authenticity flourishes in shared existence, free from manipulative veils. Emotionally gripping, these moments can evoke terror. The risk of rejection looms, but the reward is liberation, as superficial ties dissolve, making space for soul-nourishing alliances. To sustain this transformation, cultivate a circle of truth, a curated network where authenticity is the norm. Invite members based on proven alignment, fostering environments of open dialogue. Here, fake intrusions are swiftly detected, not through paranoia, but communal vigilance. Intellectually, this builds a support system for ongoing reflection. Emotionally, it combats isolation, replacing sorrow with belonging. Yet, remember the paradox. Even in authenticity, shadows linger. Regular self-audits prevent complacency. Ask, am I embodying the possible or slipping into the actual? Ultimately, Jung's warning isn't a dire prophecy but an invitation to alchemical mastery. By detecting and transcending fakeness, you don't just survive relationships. You thrive within them, emerging whole. The crowded room from our beginning now transforms. Laughter rings true, eyes meet with unwavering depth. You've alchemized deception into discernment, pain into power, ready to face the world not as a victim of illusions, but as their enlightened conqueror. Embrace this method and watch your life unfold in radiant authenticity.